You should have asked Adam do a screenshot.
Oh yeah. All right. So we're live. We're started. It's about what 40 seconds till the hour. What I don't know is if people like how they get a warning or whatever.
Oh, like
Oh
notification.
look, so we got people online. Yeah. Okay, man. I forgot about that. It gives me like a little thing. What's going on, folks? Miss Jennifer, good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh man, I am super excited. I'm a little bit bummed that I didn't get to wear my pajamas today.
No pajamas.
No
Oh man,
pajamas.
the sun is like deciding to
Oh yeah,
come
you
up.
got the sun all up on you.
Yeah, it's like a different. There we go.
You know what it is? The sun is competing with the brightness of your smile, Jen. It's like, oh yeah, you think you got
Okay,
power? Let
it
me
could be
show
that.
you. Let me show you some real power. Oh man, that's awesome. Okay, so we got some folks come in. All right, we got Frank C chatting in on YouTube. He says, "Oh, let me bring this up. Hold on, I forgot about my superpowers."
Hello. Oh, nice.
Frank.
Good morning, Frank.
Oh, you know Frank.
I know Frank. Yes,
Oh, fantastic, Frank.
and
What's going on
you'll probably meet him next week.
at LCI Congress? All right, we
Yes,
can have a bunch
probably.
of people out there. Oh, we got some riffraff in the house. We got Adam Hoots saying good morning. What's up, Adam? What's going on, baby? Oh man, I'm goofing off. You always elevate the game when you're around, Mr. Adam. Appreciate you and love you. So, folks,
Yes.
please leave some comments in the chat. We're live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Um, Tell us your name and tell us what your happy place is. We got Mr. Vance Valencia. Oh man, they're coming in now. So who the Esmael Oliveira says good morning. And then Vance says, hi there, good morning from Colorado Springs. Vance and I are going to be having a conversation next Tuesday to figure out how to expand out the social media empire that we have now. And on that, Jen, I need to give a shout out to Miss Kirsten Granados.
Okay.
You've seen her. I know everybody has seen her on LinkedIn. She's on the TikTok. I signed up for a coaching session with her, and the takeaways I got from it were amazing. So heads up, I'm gonna be TikTok famous in the very near future. But she's got game. So if anybody's trying to kind of figure out the social media game, get a coach. And if you can get a coach, check out Kirsten. She's amazing. Um, so I guess should we kind of like practice what we preach, Jen?
Yes.
Yes. So last session we closed on plus deltas.
Mm.
And this time we want to review the pluses and the deltas that we received from the session and highlight how where we're at and how we're going to be doing things. So some
Scroll
of
down. Scroll
scroll
down.
down.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
in the OR. Is that were you
that's
doing
the
the plus
pluses.
deltas
Yep.
first?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I see the poll.
Good. So that is kind of a shortcut because we got a lot of pluses because we got a lot of love from all the participants on the live stream last time. And there was a common theme in that the conversation that evolved and we jumped into talking about trust and what the definition of trust and all this sort of thing stirred up a huge conversation in the chat. And the another plus was the way we bring people into the conversation and making it's not just you and I, we include the audience. And from that, we put together a survey or a poll and posted it on LinkedIn. And we asked the question that Nirkash had posed in the chat. And the question was, can you respect someone but not trust them? And the response rate was 55% said yes, 45% said no. Now, what like just is like super moving and meaningful to me, Jen, and maybe I got a question around it, was not only did people respond and answer, but the explanation about where they were coming from on the response was vulnerable and real. Did you get the same feeling?
I did. And it was cool because I love that the answers were like right down the middle, because people were going and giving you, like, again, I even answered it and wrote. And then afterwards I was even like listening, looking at everybody else's responses and going, oh, I didn't think about that.
Yes, it expands your think. It expanded my thinking. Like, oh, okay, and that's what this is about. This is about knowledge sharing, expanding our perspective so that we can better serve people when we show up. Because why? Because
people matter.
That's it. People matter. That bottom line. All
completing
day,
your sentences, Jesse.
For me, from this perspective, that's a good thing. I don't know. That may tarnish your reputation there a little bit.
No, but I can change the narrative by completing your sentences. So it's a good thing.
You keep us on track. Absolutely. Jen is my handler. Everybody should know that by now. So we're going to jump into the deltas. We're 5 minutes into the call. We've got a few comments. I'll be bringing those up here in a sec. So the deltas. One of the deltas we received was that we didn't provide the location of previous Calabosessions. And thank you very much for bringing that delta. So for everybody that's on the call right now, you scroll up in the comments, both on LinkedIn, because Jen, we're now on LinkedIn Live. Gangsta level, watch out. And on YouTube, if you're coming in through YouTube, if you scroll up to the top of the chat, you'll find the links to the two previous sessions, which was sort and set. Go read the comments, take in the content. I'm telling you, the conversation around trust when we were talking about set and putting things in order was tremendous. And we also have a little bit of there's another link in there that may bring up a question. So we have a Clubhouse after party planned for directly after this session. And for folks that aren't, this is awesome. We get to interact. We get to read the chat. We get to bounce ideas around. We want everybody's questions and thoughts, but we don't really get to talk to them. And so the idea of the Clubhouse after party is so that we can get down and dirty, hear each other's voices, and continue the conversation. So if you want to have some more Jen and Jesse time and really connect and maybe network with some of the amazing professionals that we have here, click on that link, jump in the Clubhouse conversation. It's not too complicated. I mean, hell, I could use it. So if I could use it, anybody could use it. And we'll have some more learning and build some deeper connections. One of the other comments or deltas was commenting was difficult due to the link in the invite. So most people got access to this conversation through the LinkedIn event, and it took them to this weird YouTube website-y thing where they couldn't comment. But now, because we are also available on LinkedIn Live, you can comment directly either way, and we're going to be bringing them up. What do you think, Jan?
That's awesome. Website-y thing. Is that, can we coin that?
Website-y thing, that I've got a trademark on that.
Okay.
Copyrighted website-y thing. And then it took us 15 minutes to get to the topic. We're 8 minutes in. And part of the reason we've added this new element of reviewing the plus deltas, and the purpose of that is to display the behaviors we're seeking. We talked about it. We took your feedback, and we're reporting back to you what we've actually integrated into the feedback. And on that note, sometimes the delta is thank you, and we're going to continue forward with this element. And so, Jen, you eloquently explained why we should be responsible with this 15 minutes. Would you mind repeating that?
Sure, I'll try. So again, we very much need to acknowledge the delta, which was what Jesse did, and we wanted to make sure that it was on here. But we also know sometimes there's a plan. Sometimes we try. And so in that, we do know it's going to take some people some time to get on. We also know, based on what we're doing, it's kind of a 5-part series, and there's people that maybe did not participate in the first 2. And so we're taking that first 15 minutes to get people engaged, to make sure that we acknowledge, that you're there and we appreciate you, but also that if you did not participate in the previous two, you're not coming in blind. And so we appreciate that. We know it takes us a little while to get to the topic that we have promoted, but we also want to take that time to get people where they need to be before we dig in. So I think that was our goal.
Yep. Got to get them warmed up, baby. And we also use that time, or this time, to shout out to our people in the chat. So we got Alexander Demert from Germany. We're global. It is official. I'll keep
international.
We're awesome. I love it. Old Faithful here. We got Field Driven Lean.
Brian.
Yep. He says, are people the only thing that matter? I'd love to see some answers in the chat. Brian's always stirring it up.
I know, right at the beginning. He doesn't even let us get started, and he's already got some stuff out there.
Nothing but good stuff. Adam says his happy place is 4 a.m. phone calls with his faves that make his brain tingle. I think I'm a victim, or maybe the perpetrator, one of the perpetrators on those 4 a.m. calls. Same, man. Likewise, Mr. Adam.
Jesse, what's your happy place?
Oh God, I knew you were going to ask that. So my happy place is solitude. I like to be in solitude and swimming and drowning in my own thoughts. Like, that's where I go to recharge. That's where sometimes I run to escape. But that is my happy place. What about you, Jen?
It's interesting you say that, because mine, I'm going to say, is almost the opposite. Is the two times that I'm not, my brain is not trying to focus on something. And so number one is when I'm reading fiction, because my brain can just enjoy it and not have to be trying to process anything. So at that time, I can like stop with everything that goes on in my head. And that's sometimes when things pop in, but it also allows all the noise to kind of clear out and just enjoy when I'm reading, because I don't have to really think much when I'm reading fiction. And then in the shower, because again, it's another place that I don't really have to focus on anything. And so a lot of times things will pop in my brain during that time too. So those are my happy places.
Happy place. And look, see, Brian went and started it in the chat. He asked, are people the only thing that matters? And Vance says, no, processes matter too. But we always start with the peeps. Keep them coming. Man, that is my favorite piece. Okay. The final delta was that Jesse makes strange noises. And we did some deep analysis of this. And the reason Jesse makes all these strange noises is because he's cheap. And he doesn't want to buy a fancy Rodecaster. And so he has to make all these native sound effects. What do you think, Jen?
I completely agree. And I was in our discussion, because when we're on the call with Adam, Adam's got these sound effects and he's pushing buttons and he's just adding to elements. And Jesse was a little jealous, but he knows he doesn't have buttons. And so he's like, well, I'll just figure this out myself.
Oh, you got it, sister. And so we'll go into background and kind of a mesh of the background and introduction of what we're going to be talking about today. So this is the third session of the 5-part series of 5S in personal relationships. And this one specifically is on shine. And for those new to the call, this was written by an amazing woman that I dated and lived with for a period of time. And it was her effort to meet me where I was at, because we were trying to mend the relationship. And she went out of her way to do what was necessary to get us there. And it, you know, I'm dense and I'm slow, so I never made it around the corner. But what she produced was powerful, and I knew that it was going to be meaningful and could bring value to people's lives. And then I was on a 3-year journey finding the perfect person to have the conversation with. And then, of course, Jen and I connected, and boom, here we are. And so, you know, if we look at the definition, clean and keep all strange. What does it say?
Oh, gosh. Clean and keep all storage areas void of clutter, which is the negativity part, and any unwanted materials, which is the emotion part.
Yes. And so as that relates specifically to what we were dealing with at the time, if we think about 5S outside of the personal space, keep the stuff clear, right? Get the clutter out of the way. But what was cluttering our space in this relationship was the negativity that we were holding on to as a result of resentment and, failure to fulfill commitments, or failure just straight up to communicate, which we talked about some communication methods in the last session. And then unwanted materials. Emotion is in there. Now, I want to be clear, like, that doesn't mean don't have any emotion. We were just talking about emotional responses or operating when you're like in an entirely emotional state, which usually, for me anyways, is the least practical. When I'm in an emotional state, I'm not very practical, and things come out that are going to have long-term implications or third-order consequences that I don't think about, because I'm all up in my feels. Am I the only one, Jen, or have
No, but I think you need to take some steps back. I think you've jumped into this a little bit, but we want to make sure that we set the stage. So in 5S, where this came from is, she provided this to you. You took it and were able to, she was coming to your space. She was coming to things that that could relate to you. And she was trying to connect to you. And I think that, that was her effort. And this is kind of in our conversations, but when Jesse says set and sort, like, those are really critical. And so a lot of times, and we'll talk through all these things on here, and he did exactly what you're not supposed to do in a relationship is when you see there's an issue or you see there's something going on, let's just go try to make it better. Let's go try to make it prettier. Let's go try to make it, let's see what we can do. And you skip the first two. And so we worked really hard making sure in the first session, what does sort look like? What is it like? What's there? What's existing? What do we need to get rid of? And what do we need to keep? And make sure that we've sorted things out. Then the next one is set. So once we've sorted these things out, we have these things in front of us. We've got to create something. We've got to make sure that there's something there and put in place. And at that point, then you can jump into, okay, how do we make sure that we are, shining it inside and out? How are we looking internally as well as externally with two people? So, okay, now you can go, Jesse.
Boo! Like, uh-oh. Here comes again. Adam Hoots is saying, sounds like we're hopping into emotional intelligence. 5S definitely helps us to understand our emotions, especially in relationships. Well, Adam, I'm going to blame you for that one. You opened the door. Emotional intelligence is a deep, deep subject. And I can see Brian, he's over there kicking dust in the chat. Keep it coming, Brian. Nakasha's here. What's going on? So yes, thank you for taking us back and making sure we're clear on everything, Jen, because I'm like, yeah, let's go play. Let's go run. And so there's 5 bullet points. We're going to jump into each of them. The first one is keep communicating. The second is acknowledging each other's efforts. The third is encouraging each other's passions. The fourth is date, which I still don't understand. Like, today is October 16th. And then the last one is give each other physical and emotional space to process at our own pace. So with that, Jen, I say we jump into the next one.
Okay, well, first, let's, again, you jumped in and I took it back. So let's now come back and make sure that we're starting at the right place. So when we say shine, where you automatically think about getting something and going and cleaning it. Like that's what you think about when we think about shine. And in the workplace, that's easy because you can be like, we got to make sure we have organization. We've created places that make it easy to do our work. It makes it easy to find things, stuff like that. So how do we create consistency? How do we create those things? But when we think about personal relationships, it's so easy to look outward. And how are we making something look better? How are we making this, like, what is that outward thing? And I think it's so important. And we talk about negativity and emotion, but we've got to start with what's inside of us. And if we are not coming into this, without the baggage and without the, the jealousy and without the things that can cause that negativity and can cause that unwanted kind of, those things that are in there that are bouncing around that we're bringing into every conversation, every interaction, then it doesn't matter. Like, you can't, I know I was talking to you. It's like, I'm trying to make this a little politically correct. You can't have poop with glitter on it and it not still be poop. And so it's like, I mean, like you can try to shine it up, but it's like that doesn't change what it is. And so
Yes.
glitter and sprinkles and, sunshine are not going to change it if that's what it is. And so we've got to make sure that we are, not letting that kind of come into into what's in our head as we come into the conversation, as we come into, hey, we're doing this together, but let's make sure that we're not bringing that stuff in as we're trying to get better and grow and improve.
100%. We don't need glittery poop. It's still poop. And so, chat, we got Ian Smith on the call. Ian Smith, he's a mentor of mine, good friend. He's been on the Learnings and Missteps podcast. Thoughtful, caring individual. Thank you, Ian, for jumping in. And we also got Miss Wally Roman out of Houston, Texas. What's going on, girlfriend? Glad to see you here. And then here we go. You ready for this one?
We've got a lot of experts in the.
We got experts. Hey, you got me beat, Frank. I got two. So I'm not expert level. Maybe I'm novice. On my way to being an expert. But I think it's a good point, right? Like we learn from our errors. We learn from getting out there and doing things. And ideally, we apply what we learned going forward.
We're improving. And so again, I think if we have experience and we have people that have done these things, like we want your feedback in the chat too, because no point, or Jesse and I think we're just kind of navigating this as we go. But we also know there's a lot of knowledge and experience out there. And we want to make sure y'all are sharing that so we can bring it into the chat so other people can see it too.
100%. So one of the points is keep communicating. So let me, hang on. What am I doing here? Turn that off. Boom. There we go. And so in the keep communicating point that we made, it was a result of something that I would do, and I think other people do just naturally, is for me, when I'm upset or when I'm in an emotional state, the first thing I do is shut down and exit stage left. And that doesn't help things. Now, here's the funny thing. So not just in this romantic relationship that I was in that I misbehaved, but even in other relationships, in interactions at work, like when somebody gets me teed up, I'm like, okay, out, pause, I'm going to leave. And then it goes away and I come back to the place with the assumption that, hey, I'm better. You should be better too. Have you ever had something like that, Miss Jen?
Yes, I completely, I think when we say communicating, we automatically think of, we should be talking. And there's lots of ways to communicate. And I think if we don't stop and at least acknowledge that sometimes that nonverbal communication, sometimes even being able to communicate that I need to step away or I need to go take some time, or, just those type of things, that it's not just like you said, you shut down, you walk away. In their mind, there's like 20,000 scenarios of what you're thinking, what they said, what you said, where they are. And it could easily dissolve what escalated, or it could fuel it. And you've got to make sure that you are, that conversation, that communication piece is also saying, hey, let's just take a break. I mean, you've got to make sure that you're saying those things and not just going somewhere because you're not in a happy place.
Yes, because when we do that, what Thomas LeMay just made a comment, I'm going to bring it up, but I'm going to set it up, Thomas, because you're a deep thinker. Me going away, getting better, right? Feeling happier or whatever, de-stressing and coming back doesn't mean the situation is clear. It's not shined up. There's still clutter from what that interaction just created. And so to the point of clutter, Thomas LeMay says we shine so we can immediately see our defects and problems, right? This whole 5S thing, what's the purpose of 5S? To surface problems. And we also shine out of respect for each other, right? I got to clean up my space inside and outside. Now, do we believe clutter is a signal for improvement, Jen? What do you think?
Well, I don't know, because you're real good at deflecting. What do you think, Jesse?
Absolutely. I mean, because it's going to impede progress. So if we keep it in the conversation of relationships, having that clutter in there, right? And here's an example of clutter that I've lived with. One of my former wives, she remembered every single time that I let her down and didn't fulfill my word, stayed at the bar too late, stayed at the ballpark 12 hours when I said I was just going to go play one game. And the clutter was there. Those feelings, those violations to the trust were still there. And I did not want to address them. My tactic was get over it, right? Like, damn, when are you going to let that go? And we couldn't go past that. And so it was clutter, and it was an absolute signal for improvement, which would have mandated a pause. And I didn't want to pause. I just wanted to keep going.
And acknowledgement. I think you and I've had this conversation, even talking about when things are escalated. Calm down. Just calm down. Like, just calm down. Get over. Like your get over it is like a calm down. And when you don't acknowledge that what they're feeling and what's going on. So whether you agree with it, whether it's right or wrong, they're feeling it. And I think we get so caught up sometimes in where we are and whether we think they're right or wrong, or we didn't do anything wrong, or we're getting defensive. We don't stop and acknowledge that they're allowed to have those feelings either way. And we've got to take the time to acknowledge it. And it goes back to people matter things, when we're interacting with people, they matter and their feelings matter. And what they think matters, whether it's what baggage they're bringing in, what their perspective is because of their experience, and none of that. It's not our place to go, well, that's right and that's wrong, and I don't have to. It doesn't. None of that matters. We have to acknowledge that is something they're feeling, and then that can start the conversation
and take it in the direction. I think we were talking about when people are in fear or discomfort, and our natural reaction, or to this story that I just shared, was to say, stop being scared, stop being angry. And because of this imposing force, it just exacerbates the problem. Instead of saying, are you excited? I recognize that you're angry, and leaning into it so that we can work through it. It's a shift in thinking and behavior. Field-driven lean. Shine is so hard to do with my kids. And Nirkash says, loves that clean up my space inside and outside. Shine leads to clarity.
It is.
Yes.
And I love it because when we think about shine like clean, but I think about shine like light. And if you're shining a light on something, it is right there. You can't hide from it. You can't evade it. It is like spotlight on it. What are you going to do with it?
You got to do something. Don't just be talking smack. So I think it's time to go to the second point. What do you think?
Sure.
Boom. Acknowledge each other's efforts. So this was me being a whiny, needy boy. And you know what? I learned the other day that I'm not needy. I'm wanty. What do you think about that?
That's another one of those Jesse-isms, I think.
And so what was happening in this situation, or the reason this point was brought out and that she brought it to the table, was for me to create time or block out time for anything other than work or what's in my head is very difficult. And so when I do it, I'm expecting a parade and 100% the deepest gratitude ever, because I have blessed you with my time, right? I mean, that's not exactly what I think, but
yeah, it is. But go ahead.
Okay. And it's like, it just takes so much damn energy for me to do that. Now, what was happening on her end, because she's like a regular human being, and it wasn't enough. Okay, so yeah, you're not on a plane right now, but you're sitting down here on the couch on your laptop working or reading or something. And I'm like, what do you like, but I'm not on a plane. Like what? And so that's where it came from, was she recognized that that it would have been in our benefit had she recognized the effort that I was putting into being present and being physically available to her. And the inverse of me recognizing how difficult it was because her love language was touch. And so how difficult it was for me to be in the same room and not be fulfilling that need. And I wasn't recognizing that either. So we weren't acknowledging each other's efforts. We were stuck in our box. Shout out to Adam in the book of Leadership and Self-Deception. We were only seeing the situation from our own specific perspective, and it just kept degrading and dissolving the relationship.
I think that, and it goes back to what your very first question that you asked the people in the audience that only a couple have answered, but that's okay. And so I think you ask, where's your happy place?
Yes.
And so your happy place is not my happy place. Yours is where you can be by yourself and you can kind of be in your own thoughts. My happy place is somewhere where I don't have to think. So if we are not communicating those things and we are not acknowledging those things, I'm going to want to go to Six Flags and go and get somewhere where my brain does not have to think about anything that is constantly going on in my head, because it removes me, and that will make me be in a better place and be able to kind of go from there. You need to be somewhere by yourself. Those are like, that will just screw up whatever effort we're trying to make. If you know what I'm saying, like if we were trying to do something to fix something or to acknowledge, I mean, like if we didn't have those conversations, I mean, it's good. You're going to come home and be in a worse place than you were when you left.
Absolutely. And we got to receive that. Like when I said I like solitude and I'm a hermit, normally people think, well, you need some alone time. Like, no, it is different. It's a different level. And when people that need that social time or touch, there's a depth to it that we don't understand. So we've got to have those deeper conversations to shine out and polish and really understand, what does solitude mean for you? And what does touch mean for you? And what does engagement mean for you? Like for real, so that we're on the same page. So we got some jokesters in the chat. Miss Stephanie Brown, what's going on, sister? She says, one of your ex-wives, ? Your next series might be called The 8 Wastes of San Antonio. I think all my ex-wives will agree that I am the 9th waste. And then Adam, of course, jumps in and says, oh yeah, all my exes live in Texas. And I think that's true, like in terms of people that I've been married to. And Mary Allison is here. What's going on, Miss Mary Allison? She's here from South Carolina. What's MA? I guess
her name.
Oh, duh. MA from SC. My bad. Thank you for that. All right. How you feeling about going into the next bullet point?
Yeah, we can always go back if we have to recap something.
Good. Comments out there, y'all. If you've got questions. I love that we're keeping it light, and Brian's still out there kicking up dust. Keep it coming, Brian. Frank gave us a little happy face. Appreciate all of that.
I do like that Brian says, in the habit, where is it at? The habit of giving gratitude. Yeah, that one. I mean, I think that is huge. I think the acknowledgement, but also like, okay, like let's not just go, yeah, you said something, what does that mean? And,
yes.
I appreciate that. And it's like that. There's more to it than just, okay, yes, you're wrong. Like, we've got to make sure that we are appreciating the conversation.
I like that. Like, yes, you're wrong. I knew I worked with a person who would say, I'm not disagreeing with you, but like, bro, you just straight up disagreeing with me. Like, just own it. It's okay. We can have that conversation.
We needed no assumptions. And I think that's the opposite of acknowledge effort is those assumptions.
Oh, okay. Sorry. We can't move on with that comment, Jen. Assumptions, and there's that funny, cute little thing that everybody likes to pull out. You know what that means when you make an assumption, and then they use the letters the word is spelled with. It's my observation that most of the pain that I see teams and leaders deal with and fumble through is derived from their damn assumptions. What do you think?
I completely agree. We go into conversations with assumptions, and that keeps us from even acknowledging what the other person's saying, because it's that opposite. Mary Allison said active listening. It's not active listening. It's coming in, already having she's like reading my mind, but it's being able to, it's going into a conversation and you already know how it's going to go. You already know what you're going to say, and it is irrelevant what comes out of their mouth. And when you're doing that, like the conversation, it's irrelevant in general. Like, why are you even having the conversation? If you're going in to have a conversation and communicate with someone else, it's got to be that listening as well as, contributing.
Yes. Or I think I've said it before, listening beyond what we want to hear. Right? Because sometimes I'll hear the words that feel like they're aligned with what my vision is. And okay, boom, got it. I'm running with it. Right? Like, hey, I'm gonna go work on the house. Because that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, cool. Well, I'll see you later today. Boom. I heard free pass to go spend 16 hours alone working on the house. That's not what you meant. Because I didn't check my assumptions. I didn't go and say, hey, well, what I mean is I'm probably not going to be back until 9 p.m. Like when the sun goes down, I'll be back. I didn't say that. All I said, like, oh, hey, I'm going to work on the house. I got the green light. Boom, let's go. And that created plenty of problems. And I've seen that bubble up out on the job site, specifically in pull plans. Like all the time, somebody will overcommit and say, oh, yeah, I can get that done in 4 days, which is shorter time period than what people thought. I mean, maybe they figured 7 days. And because it's shorter, oh, great, boom, 4 days. But when we actually go to execute the work, guess what? It's 7 or maybe 8. And so we got to listen beyond what it is we want to hear.
No, but you did it. I like Jesse, because again, we try really hard to balance the two between the personal relationships outside of work and inside work. And we really didn't hit this hard inside work, which you just did. But I think acknowledging those efforts is thank you so much. But acknowledging those efforts is so important on our projects for us construction. But because like we have those expectations, here's the roles, here's the responsibilities, here's the commitments, and it's okay if they meet the commitments to still acknowledge and appreciate that. And I think we lose sight of that and for me personally, I try very hard. Thank you for making coffee. Thank you for like really trying to make those say, I guess share those appreciations on things that would normally just be expectations. And when we can do that, it does change the dynamic of the interaction.
Oh my goodness. Yes. The tingles. I got the tingles in the brain going on. So Frank says, I think everything can be done in 3 days.
See, yeah. I knew Frank was going to be bringing the power this morning.
Yeah, I know. And then Adam, I don't know, Adam. I don't know if you recognize how much you just stirred the pot with this comment. Adam says inquiry over advocacy, but the last 2 words he throws up is active caring. And I know we got Ian Smith and Wally Roman out there who have a particular understanding around active caring. So Ian and Wally school us, baby, school us. Leave us some nuggets in the chat, please. And then Mary Allison, with her wisdom, says communicate expectations as well as active listening. ensure the communication. Oh my God.
That's what you do. That's what you don't do, Jesse. you like communicate and you're like, okay, we talked. I'm good. I'm out.
Yay, ready to go back.
Like, we never really brought that back around and had some closure or had some, we're on the same page. We're moving in the same direction.
You got it. Just like this. Encourage each other. That's an example of what not to do. Or that's also an example of all of us have weaknesses. And it is in our interest to find people that have strengths that balance out our weaknesses. And so, Jen, I'm not great at closing the loop. Nope. And so I need my handler, Miss Jennifer Lacy, to help close the damn loop so that I don't leave people in the dust wondering and confused, because I'm pretty good at that. Mm-hmm. So what is encourage each other? Where did that come from?
I think just from our conversations, I think we've got to not just acknowledge, the things that are happening or acknowledge the efforts that are being made, but also how are we elevating? How are we, helping them, I guess, their own personal growth? How, not just not just us together, but how do you also look at that partner or that person and go, okay, what is it that I can help them grow, help them feel good about themselves? Because I know for me personally, when I feel good about myself and I feel like I'm contributing and I feel like this is good, it helps the partnership. It helps the relationship. And that's work or even outside of work. When I'm in a good place and I'm bringing that into any, interaction, that changes the interaction. And so if we're encouraging and elevating those around us, specifically those that we have relationships with, it helps both of us.
And so in 100%, and in this idea of encourage each other, I shortened it because it was specifically encourage each other's passions, encourage and support each other's passions. And, I have a passion for learning. I have a passion for connecting and serving, which also was problematic in that by connecting and serving, that also pulled me away from the house and from being with her. She had a passion for fitness and a passion for family and close connection. And we needed to figure that out. And we started experimenting around it, like, how do we support each other's things and be clear, like, this is like the important thing to me. There's a lot of stuff that I do, but this thing I need your support on because it fuels me. It keeps me alive inside. And had I known that, like, I guess I know now going forward. So to all the single ladies out there, I'm fixed, just so you know. But getting, like, let's just understand that, and how can I pour into that and invest in that and honor that, right? Like, let's honor that so that we can grow concurrently as individuals and contribute to each other's path. I think you had a story about.
Yes, I do. I have an example that hopefully my brother doesn't kill me. But anyway, so my brother he plays soccer. And again, he's over 40, so he plays in a league, and and that's just like, that's his outlet. That's his happy place. That's what he loves. And if he can meet up early on Saturday morning or Sunday morning at 7 and they go and play, or he has games, on Sunday afternoons, things like that. Like, that's his happy place. And his wife, if she didn't understand that, wasn't there with him, there could be resentment. There could be, why do you have to do that? Why do you have, so if there was not communication between those two things, there could be a lot of things that were created because of his passion. Because sometimes, leaving early in the morning, having to go play a game, things like that. There's things, and so that's just one example. But it's cool watching the dynamic between the two, because obviously he communicated that early, and she's been living with this soccer player husband for a while. But his birthday was a couple months ago, and it was cool when he was opening gifts, and she got him a gift card to go get new soccer shoes. And I mean, like, I was just like, oh, like she just hit his happy place like 1,000 places, because I mean, just watching him and just what that meant for him. And I just saw it on his face that, like, not only do you acknowledge that this is important to me, but you are now encouraging and elevating something that's important to me. I mean, it was really cool watching it.
Oh my goodness. So even though he's not like getting recruited and scouts aren't coming and signing him up.
Exactly. Yes.
That's a thing, right? Like for a long time, softball and fishing, that's where I went to recharge. Well, and drink a lot of cold beer. And it took away from the thing. And I would like, why do you play softball so much? Like, it ain't like anybody's going to pay you, fool. Like, what about me? So
but
we got to support.
But what you just said is, were you using it for something that was helping you, where some people, and maybe you were doing that too, is also that time away.
Yes.
Were you using it as a time to get away from something that you didn't want to deal with? And there's times where people use those passions to go, oh, I got to go do this because I don't want to deal with what's here. At that point, you're just avoiding some things that need to happen anyway.
Jen, so that beautiful distinction. We need to go here. So there is a difference between you. Damn it, you just baited me and I bit the damn hook. There is a difference between supporting somebody's passions and enabling self-destructive behavior. And so I made the comment about me playing softball and going fishing and drinking cold beer. The realness underneath that was 100% me not dealing with whatever I had going on within me. And so being out and being surrounded with people made it look like I was being a human being and happy and having a good time. But I was drinking. 100% I was drinking. And why was I drinking? Because I wanted to feel different. And what I mean by that, I didn't want to feel or deal with the feelings that I had that I'd been carrying for decades. So when I say feelings, I'm not talking about just feeling hungry and feeling sleepy. I'm talking about joy. I'm talking about disappointment, talking about pain, talking about all of those things. I would not feel them. I didn't want to go there because I was terrified of those things. And so what did I do? I polluted my body with substances, anything I could get my hands on. But at that time, it was alcohol. And so this would dilute or numb those feelings, that negative space that I was in. And rather, it would numb it so much that I could continue staying in it and never deal with it. So we want to support one another's passions, but it is also appropriate to say, hey, this behavior is not serving you as a human being, and we need to look at that. Now, that sounds great, because I know there was a ton of people in my life that were telling me, like, Jesse, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with yourself? You've got so much to offer and you're just drowning in all this garbage. I wasn't ready to hear it. It took multiple arrests to get me to a point where I said, oh, maybe I got a problem. But a shout out to all the people out there that had the courage to call me out. And shout out to you, Jen, for helping us go there, because it's very easy now that I'm a social media mogul, right, to think that I have arrived. And when I feed my ego that way, it's a dangerous spot for me to be. It doesn't take a whole lot for me to fall back into addiction. It absolutely, it happens that quick. So yes, encourage each other's efforts, encourage each other's passions, but also have the courage to elevate the accountability and point out when they're not serving themselves.
So I need to shine a light. I really quick. So again, recently read a post by Paul Dean, and he talked about the culture code, which is an amazing book, and talked about the vulnerability loop. And I just want to acknowledge absolutely what you just did in creating some vulnerability by putting yourself out there. And so again, acknowledge that. But that vulnerability piece, it can't, if there's vulnerability with one person, And that vulnerability loop is about getting vulnerable, letting somebody acknowledge and see your vulnerability, and then they get vulnerable with you. And then together, what you're able to do when you're both in that place. And a lot of the things we talk about is a lot of the relationships or those at work and not. When someone gets in that place and they're vulnerable and they're sharing and they're there, and whether someone attacks them or someone doesn't acknowledge what's going on inside and outside of work, it changes the dynamic of that relationship, but also even going forward where the trust is and where the respect is.
Yes. So the vulnerability is like the well. And like when I'm hearing it and talking about vulnerability, it's the well that we can go into, and everybody has to pour into it in order to take out. And so that it keeps, it can be amazing, but it's scary as all hell for damn sure. So we posed a question to Ian, and like a champ, he came back swinging. He says, active caring starts with respect for people. Not a surprise. Thank you, Ian. Treat people the way they want to be treated. Oh, no, it says you want to be treated. Personally, he treats people better than he treats himself, which is how many people out there actually do that. They treat people and honor people to a greater degree than they do themselves. I love you, Ian, and so I'm going to help you treat yourself better. A smile, a hello. Does that go like, does that help you, Jen?
Does it help you?
Absolutely. Like, duh. How many times do we walk on a job site and don't make eye contact with somebody? How many people do we walk by on a job site on a daily basis that we don't even say hello to? I mean, I would say smile, but not every job, like, with the mask mandate and stuff, it might be difficult to smile, even though I've shared smiles through my mask on the plane that earned me extra cookies. It is possible, but that's a question that I want people to think about. Like, how many people do you walk past that you interact with or are a part of the success of your goal that you have not said hello to? And what the hell are you going to do about it?
So keep that up there because I want to address that. But I also, based on what you just said, Adam Hoots did a poll last week, and it just closed, and so I got to see kind of some of the stuff. But his poll was about how do you make people matter. And he posed it, and I think, a great responses, but I think there was a lot more context in the, like your poll in the bottom, and the conversations back and forth. And it was just a lot of acknowledgement, a lot of the things we're talking about. It was just that smile, that just encouragement, like, how do you make people matter? Sometimes it goes right back to what Ian is saying. It's just acknowledging that, what they're doing. And like you said, that smile, just that interaction, that hello, things like that. I think it's huge. And that's one, but I want to hit what Ian said, because it ties back to exactly what you said earlier about your going to the ballpark, going fishing. Treat people the way that either they want to be treated. Personally, I treat people better than myself. If you're not treating yourself good, which is what you just talked about in your story, how are you going to treat other people? If you haven't worked on that inside shine and you haven't gotten yourself in a good place, how could you possibly outwardly be able to connect and help and encourage and grow anything that's outside of yourself?
Damn it. I'm going to deflect and go to Miss Wally. It's straight up. Like, that's just real. We had the moment of pause because hopefully the folks out there are having that, like, oof, ouch. Let me examine my own self. Wally says we got to support each other's goals. That's her response, right? Like, active caring. Pretty damn simple. Miss Angel, the curious idealist, says the golden rule is to treat others how you would want to be treated, but the platinum rule is to treat others the way they want to be treated. And that's more difficult because we have to care enough to be curious and try to find out how they want to be treated. It's an absolute investment. Ian, I don't know if you heard Jen or not, but she said you got to be treating yourself better. Love yourself the way you love everybody else. And can you smile with your eyes? Yes, I've proven it because I got cookies out of it. And yes, we do absolutely have to be deliberate. Love the comments. Keep them coming. We're going to jump into the next point because the clock is ticking. So this is like the most confusing thing, Jen. I'm going to need help here. One of the points in Shine in terms of relationships was date. And like I said, it's October 16th. So did I achieve the goal?
No, not at all.
Damn it.
And so I think the point here is that a lot of times we get in there, there's that, you go and you're trying to build or, connect with somebody, and you're going in and you're feeling each other out, you're going to do fun things, and then you're in this relationship. And then we all of a sudden decide we don't have to continue to do those things that brought us together. And so the date, I think specifically is, are you taking the time to go together and do things? And are you spending time where you're still connecting with each other? Because I've learned just in an industry that is ever evolving that I'm never going to learn everything. I'm never going to reach mastery. I'm never going to be an expert. That's never going to happen in just my work life. If we think at any point that we are going to reach mastery or be an expert in any personal relationship, whether you're a parent, whether it's your siblings, your parents, your love life, it doesn't matter. You are absolutely screwing yourself. And so you've got to realize, if you're not continually working on it, continually trying to find ways to make it better, then your progress is going to stop. And I think the date piece, even though it's a very simple one, it's how are you continually, listening and adding the value to each other of learning more about you, learning more about me. How can we do things together? What can we find some new things that we haven't even done before, that now we're doing these things together and we're learning them? And because anytime I'm learning with anybody, it's like, it's a connection, and it's something that now we have this that we can go forward with. And I just think we lose that a lot in any relationship we're in.
I think I'm starting to see it reminds me of on projects when we have like a conditions of satisfaction conversation, or we have boot camps, kickoff meetings. Like we do all these things, we bring in the trade partners, we bring in the client, we bring in all the people and do all these fun, exciting, energizing things. Out of the gate, we feel good, everything's great. And then guess what? We don't do it anymore. And then things start getting sour. Or we start introducing new trades as the job progresses, new players start coming in, and we don't go back and do the date. We don't go back and do the date.
Or we don't check.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's great to roll it out there and go, hey, here's our plan, here's what we're going to do. This is going to be amazing. And then we just go do, and then we don't ever go back and look back and say, okay, well, we set this, we talked about it, are we doing it? Because if not, we may need to realign a little bit. We may need to get back on track. We struggle sometimes with that part of it.
Okay. So if I think of dating in terms of check, the C in PDCA, that makes a little more sense. Okay. I could dig it.
But let's take it to the job site. Okay. Same concept. I mean, it's team building. Because we go to work and we have a plan and we're there and we have a mission and we have a goal. We're trying to get results. What's the value to the customer? Like those are there. But how are we continuing to build and grow and connect to people? What's team building? And we can do those things on site. We can do those things off site. What are we doing to grow those relationships and to continue further? I mean, there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be some things that, they knock heads and it's not going to be good. But the more that they are connecting and growing together, they're going to be able to overcome a lot of those things and it not escalate and turn into something bigger than it needed to be. And so to me, it's, team building is, I'm sure everyone on this call could give us an example of what team building, activities and things that they've done that go right back into how are we continuing to grow those relationships.
Yes. Well done. Thank you for closing the loop. I didn't bring up Mary Allison's comment. She's like, bro, you didn't even finish reading the comment that she made, like close the loop, bro. And I'm still not going to bring it back up. But shout out to Miss Stephanie Brown giving me some love. Are you surprised that I would bring up a comment that highlights me, Jen?
Of course not.
Stephanie says, we all have learnings towards anything that allows us to avoid what we want, what we don't want to face. Jesse the Brave, watch out. Thank you, Stephanie. So that I'm being
But
silly.
avoidance is big. I mean, avoidance is some of those things that, it's easy. And you're the master of deflection, I've realized. Like think. Like you're just like, yeah, you just kind of
avoidance. Here's another example of avoidance that I've been able to see out on the job, is especially out in the early the early phase of the we just got the project, we got this fresh clean budget, this fresh clean schedule, and we're gonna make money, everything's gonna be amazing. And then we get into the first month and things slide a little bit, and then second month it slides a little bit more, but we keep sprinkling glitter on that little pile of poo, avoiding the truth that we got problems, that we need to make significant changes so that we can bring things back on track. So the avoidance is that, well, if I move some money from this line item and put this, if I do a little bit here, sprinkle a little bit over here, sprinkle, it's going to get better. It's not. You got to face up and just, hey, it's a stinky pile of poo. Let's get more brains looking at this, and let's shine it out so that we can move forward and reach our objective and not have a damn nervous breakdown.
And I think the misconception is we think messy is bad. And that's just growing up like, oh, clean the mess up. Oh, why is all this stuff everywhere? You've got clutter, and you can see this is my mess. And it's like, it's okay. Like messy's okay. And when you're in messy and you've got all these brains in there and they got all these ideas and you've thrown this out and thrown that out, and that's okay. That's usually when you can come to something amazing.
Yes.
And so we've got to get away from if it's getting messy, let's embrace that. Let's dive in. Let's figure out what we can do to address those budget and schedule and things that sometimes we just want to avoid them because it messes up that clean, perfect schedule and budget. And, messy sometimes is good.
We just got to go there. We have a long way to go till we get there, but it's one of the things I'm putting a lot of effort into is helping people celebrate problems. Like we've identified it. We brought it to the table. The celebration is let's do something about it, as opposed to having a punitive response and shooting the messenger. Let's dive into that bad boy. Let's get some of this brain power and Jennifer smile over here so we can work through this damn thing. And so that takes us to the last point, Jen. It was about creating space to give each other time to process. And I recently had a conversation with somebody, and they noticed, they were like, dude, like, okay, like I see what you do. Like we'll ask you a question or give you an objective or whatever. And there's some process time on your end. Like it takes depending on the depth of the issue, it could be 2 or 3 days or a week of me processing before I come back to respond. And in this situation, what was happening is I would get my feelings hurt, or I would hurt her feelings. And there was this goofy expectation of, okay, let's talk about it objectively because we're adults right now. And that never worked out. Was that like a unrealistic expectation, Jen?
Yes, because sometimes, Jesse, when you piss people off, when you make people mad, when you've done something to hurt them, and I'm going to go back even to my kids. There's times when there's an argument or a disagreement with my daughter, and like my mind goes, let's fix this. And she's like mad and angry and not okay. And at that point, if I keep pushing and I keep analyzing and it's doing nothing but let me think of the word. It is elevating her anger and her frustration to the point to where now she has exploded and I've done nothing but just fuel it.
Mm.
And so for me, I've had to realize at a point where my brain is automatically fix it, fix it, fix it. Let's get this in a better place. I have to stop and I have to take a step back and I have to just go do something else. Let her go do something else. And again, she's 10. So I'm like, it's not like she's going to get in the car and drive away, but it's like, I've got to like take some time away and let her calm down. And then 9 times out of 10, she'll come and go, Mommy, I'm sorry. And I don't know why I got mad, but I needed to go and do this. And, and at that point, hopefully those are good skills that she's learning. But I mean, that's my frame of reference right now is we've got to stop thinking because there's a problem, we have to fix it. Because when we go do it in that mode, we are doing it from our perspective. You wanted to fix the problem because you felt like you could fix it. And then when there's 2 people engaged in any kind of interaction, work or not, even outside of work, it's like, we've got to realize there's a whole other person and they're bringing a whole lot of things into that conversation as well.
Love it. And you stirred it up again, Jen. So Mike Kyman says, we are engineers designed to fix problems. No.
Yes.
And process time is hard. It's so in the professional space and the personal space. What's funny is I know because I'm all jacked up that I attract fixers in terms of dating candidates, right? Like if you are a fixer and you want like an eternal problem to fix, I'm your guy. Right now, it professionally, like, yeah, like I want to do people. I used this language before, improvement shankers. And so somebody will come and start talking about their situation. And an improvement shank is, let's say, Jen, you come to me and say, hey, I was talking to so-and-so and they're really not being responsive. I sent them an email and I was, well, have you called them? Have you texted them? Have you checked them on LinkedIn? Like that's improvement shanking. We want to fix the problem right now. But how does that feel? It feels like a shank. Right? Like just shut your mouth and listen. Sometimes people just want to listen and be heard. So there is urgency. We've got to address things and bring them back to order. And to the point here, there is value in providing the space for people to process and get to a point where they can actually contribute to the mission going forward. Ian stirring it up. Ian says, we used to have a training called pulling it out of the fire.
Nice.
It always made me question, how did we let it get that way to begin with? And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say the bias to immediate action to problems is or can be throwing gas on the fire.
Oh, I mean, that was my example. Is like all I did was fuel whatever the issue was, which was probably something tiny like pick up your shoes. And it turned into like just because I would go and make it a big deal. And, whether she was, it didn't matter. Like adding that fuel just makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
And then you still got to deal with it. It's not like it fixed anything.
Yep. And Mary Allison, dead on, right? We're talking about pause and reflect, right? Like let's pause, pump the brakes, baby. Let's go. That problem ain't going anywhere. It's gonna be there. Like let's reflect. Let's give people some process time. And on the note of process time, folks, love you all for bringing the comments, sharing the knowledge, sharing your insight. We're gonna get into. What are we going to get into? We're going to get into.
Well, wait. I want to just close the loop because we haven't quite closed it yet, but that's okay. So I think Mary Allison said it great. Like that reflect piece is that creating the space to. If you'll bring up, I know I'm trying to like point to you, but can you bring up the entire agenda? The one you pulled up up front, because it's give each other the physical and emotional space to process at our own pace. And so again, creating that space, but being able to give that to someone else and, whether it's reflection time for you, reflection time for them, but allowing that process time. And I think that's so important. And we don't think about that, whether it's work, we're in a room and we're like, okay, here's the issue. How are you going to fix it? Okay, you didn't make your schedule. What's your new schedule? what, like, I mean, what's the commitment now you're going to make to me because you didn't do this? Like, that's so, how many times are those conversations in the room, with someone that maybe they are in a position to make a decision. Maybe they have to kind of spitball it, and then they have to get on a call after they leave the meeting and go, hey, by the way, I just made this commitment. Like, how many of those things happen every day? We're in a room and we're asking people to make decisions right there after we've just unloaded what the issue is or what the constraint is. I mean, like, again, every day we're in rooms like that and we're like, okay, what are you going to do? Okay, what are you going to do? Instead of like, hey, let's talk through what are some things that we can do and think through this, and let's revisit this. And let's come back tomorrow, think about it tonight, and then we'll see how we can tackle this. I don't think we do enough of that.
Well, that just reminds me of Frank's comment.
Frank's got the answer already, right?
What do you think about 3 days? Yeah, we have this about 3 days. I love it. So that's going to take us into plus deltas. So we got 6 minutes on the call. Folks, please give us your plus deltas in the chat. I hope that the way we kicked off this call made a deposit into you to let us know. Plus, what are we doing that's bringing value to you? Keeps you coming back, because we got a lot of repeat offenders out here, and I love that because I need accomplices, and then deltas. What are the things that we can do to improve and make this experience better for you and for your colleagues out there? Because I know that y'all are like telling all of your people like this was the coolest thing. You're sharing it. You're asking them to comment. You're asking them to subscribe to the YouTube channel and listen to the Learnings and Missteps podcast and all of the things. So I really appreciate y'all doing that. That is extremely helpful. And as we're getting those comments in the plus delta, should I tease them?
Well, first, let me give my plus.
Oh, give us your plus, Jen.
My plus is that the engagement and the comments today was just exploded. And again, Jesse and I've had this conversation I know you're on here and maybe you're here to hear us a little bit or listen to some things we're saying, but the value of us doing this is you and what you're bringing to the table and how you are fueling the conversation and adding those nuggets in. And so, again, what we saw today in a lot of the comments and some of the things that were, whether they took the conversation somewhere else or added into it, that's the power of what we're doing today.
Love it. Love it. I have a delta. My delta is that I didn't get to wear my pajamas to the damn show because Jen didn't let me. But nobody
wants to see your pink bunny jammies. Nobody wants to do
that. Oh, my goodness. So I'm going to drop a teaser and then we'll come back to the plus deltas.
Okay.
So here is the teaser. And just like Jen mentioned, the value that we are drawing from y'all's interaction and your thought sharing in the chat and in the follow-up post that we do on LinkedIn and everywhere else has brought this to light. So there was a suggestion of putting together a checklist about what we've been talking about. And so what I wanted to do, Jen and I kind of strategize, or Jen really just schooled me like, hey, dummy, do something. Stop talking all the time. And so we've put this together, and I recognize that it may be a little difficult to read. And so it's an opportunity for you to bring all your colleagues at work together and watch this whole episode again and dive into hint, and just look at this and read through it. And would this be something that could add value to your day? Or more importantly, what tweaks could we integrate so that it could add tremendous value to you, your family members, your colleagues, your kids, all of them as they subscribe to the Learnings and Missteps YouTube channel.
So did you give a shout out to Christy for even putting this out there?
No.
Okay.
Please close the loop.
I think because Chrissy Powell, I believe. Yeah, because you're really good at that. She put a comment about, hey, a checklist would be good. Now, again, we want to be clear. It's not that prescriptive. Check the box because, again, we're talking about personal relationships. We're talking about people, and those are not very prescriptive, we've learned. But we also know that this can start the conversation. So a lot of times when you're thinking about, when you're asking these questions, we know, and sometimes people have that perfection paralysis and they wait till something's perfect. And so we just brainstormed it, came up with some ideas. Jesse did a great job putting it together. And so we're throwing it out there to know it is not at any point perfect, ready, anything other than here's a first shot. And so we are looking at what's missing, what can be added. And even if you did it yourself versus adding it to our list, that's kind of what we're asking for. And again, we're going to bring it up over the next couple live streams as well, but we just wanted y'all to be thinking about it. And I think we're going to dig into a little bit more in the clubhouse, but we want to make sure that if you have any feedback on this, we'd love to hear it.
100%. I'm going to zoom through a couple of pluses or some of the feedback. Jesse and Jen are the only ones I'd intentionally wake up for on a Saturday morning. Thank you. Brian, our vulnerability. Yep, that we're going to bring it. Thank you, Brian. Plus, brave enough to do a live recording. Oh, yeah.
Yes, with Jesse, absolutely.
Problems. Oh, Nakash, problems are a blessing. Without problems, we will not be able to improve 100%. Oh, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. Give me a parade. Actions on plus deltas from the last week. And then, hey, Brian says, see y'all in Phoenix. What's going on in Phoenix, Jen?
LCI Congress is next week. So next Wednesday and Thursday, there are like 78 sessions focused on just lean implementation, people, organizational scalability, just every possible thing that lean and people and respect and all of those things can touch is next week in Phoenix. And
Yes.
You're going to hit on the lean convo stuff?
Oh, yeah. We got a little banner running at the bottom here. While y'all are out there, keep an eye out for LinkedIn post of hashtag lean convo pop-up. And that's all I'm going to say. It's going to be awesome. Yes. Jump on the clubhouse after party so we can get into the details of that. Jen.
I got one more thing because Brian's right. It's Tuesday too. Tuesday's like a learning day, and I know Brian's doing some stuff on Tuesday, so I want to make sure we give a shout out. Tuesday's the learning day. Wednesday and Thursday are the more breakout presentation sessions. So it is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Sorry, Brian. Got you.
10-4. Thank you for that. Ian says he was waiting for a TikTok dance. Ian, that is fans only content. So next time. Y'all love the time that we've spent together, and we're fixing to jump on to TikTok. The link is in the chat.
Not TikTok.
I'm sorry. Clubhouse. That one too. Peace out, y'all. Love you. Boom. Okay, so not TikTok, Clubhouse. Okay, what do I do here? End broadcast.